Good morning, it's January 29th. I have my lapel mic back. They sent me a new one. They being Lowinner is the brand name. My first one quit charging. So I sent them, a support thing and saying I would like to get that one repaired or something, and they just said, we'll send you a new one. And I didn't even have to send them the old one back. So now there's two ways to look at that. One is that's really good customer service, which it is. The other is that the things are clearly a lot cheaper than you pay for them, what you pay for them, so that they can afford to be that. Immediately we'll just send you a new one, and all I said was the first one wasn't charging. Didn't even have to prove it. I just got sprayed by a sprinkler. I didn't even see. Gonna go over into Lakeview today, maybe go down a little bit further than I have yet and do the street by street thing again. That's kind of my plan. Then get back. I've got some nonfiction work to do, and I've got Tangled Stars to work on, and I'm being interviewed for a podcast at 11 today, so I got to get back. Be ready for that when that comes up. Speaking of podcasts, this weekend there'll be a new episode of the World Shapers podcast. This one featuring Violet Milan, fellow Daw author, now lives in Spain. Used to live in Canada, so I've met her many times. She has a new book called The Godstone coming out next week, I think. Releasing very soon anyway. Nice and cool right now. It's going to 30, but it's only about 15 or 16 right now, so pleasant walking temperature. I'm gonna go up the traditional way here to the crosswalk. I mean crosswalk, but the first is the footbridge. So hopefully my sound is better now. Also getting the new microphone. I have a new, charmingly called Dead Cat, the little fur ball you put on mics to cut wind noise. I didn't put it on this morning because it doesn't seem all that windy, but also it's a little obvious when you're wearing it. Little fur ball at your throat. Hopefully this mic keeps working and doesn't stop charging like the other one did. Is there? Oh, good morning, Colleen. On Facebook. Now we'll see how my internet connection fares when I get up here. It often gets a little wobbly when I go through the sort of leafy tunnels on the dike here. Tomorrow, of course, we'll be walking around the lake. That's what I always do on Fridays. And I know I'll walk this weekend. I like the gravel. Sounds like I'm walking fast because you can hear my feet going crunch, crunch, crunch. Lovely garden down there, I pointed out before. The sunflowers are getting big. The sound of summer, the beep, beep, beep of vehicles backing up. There's less ambient noise, I think, that comes through on this mic than when I was just using the phone mic, which I've been doing the last few days while I waited for the new lapel mic. But certainly my voice is more constant. Sometimes it sounds really good on the camera mic, but if you turn your head or there's too much ambient noise, sometimes you fade out because I think the camera is trying to pick up other noises. Now what the heck is all that noise? Oh, good grief. There's big equipment on Regina Avenue up here. Over there. Meanwhile, here's the traditional look down the creek, looking east into the sun, looking west away from the sun. Duh. Looking down at all the green weeds growing in the water. All this hot weather is probably made for serious weed growth. Well, I don't think I'll walk down Regina Avenue to start then. I'll cross up here and make my way into Lakeview along Cameron here. That's what's going on. Normally I would have walked down that way. My intention is to go down as far as Hill and then do street by street south of Hill for as long as my time holds out, because I have to walk further to get there to even start. Oh, nice to leave all that noise behind. So walking up Cameron here, as I've walked up and down many times since it's the one that connects to the footbridge. I'll work my way over to Montague. This house is still for sale. This modern one here, 2868 Cameron. There's the realtor if you want to buy. Freeze that frame, call that number. Here's Lakeview School. Oh, this street has been completely resurfaced at some point while I was walking elsewhere. Well, I will cross it. There's Lakeview School, main entrance. Built in 1914, I think. Oh, I'm entirely wrong. It's not as old as I thought, because 1930. Unless that's some sort of extension to the original school, which is possible. I thought it went older than that. Oh, so much for my knowledge of the area, and I wrote a book on it. I just don't remember it. Actually, we'll go up this way. Oh, there's always a dog, and he's usually in my path. Sidewalks that are covered with asphalt always puzzle me. How did they decide that's what they were going to do? The other side is concrete. This side has asphalt, which has been here a while, since it's got cracks in it with weeds growing in it. There's a new house. Kind of watched it being built because it, on its side over here is the parking lot to Lakeview United Church, where, as I've mentioned, we rehearse quite often for Regina lyric musical theater things, including the lyric singers. We rehearse in the chapel, which is right behind that window, those windows there. And we rehearse in the basement for larger shows, or have, including the two I wrote and directed. As time goes by, a love story with music and ghosts, and the music shop. The music shop is available to watch on my YouTube channel in its entirety. It's a fantastical musical, by which I mean it has the fantastical element. There's Lakeview United. Working our way up to Hill Avenue. Having to walk this far to begin with, I don't know how far along on the street-by-street basis I'll get up there, but that's the plan. Sure, nobody's turning this way before I step out into traffic, of which there is now none. End of July. 2 months from now, it's not impossible there could be snow, or have been snow. Hopefully not, but almost certainly it will have frosted and all the flowers will be dying by then. It's always hard to believe when it's going to be 30 today, and it was like 35 2 days ago. This is an extreme climate, Saskatchewan. $40 below sometimes in the winter and 40 above sometimes in the summer. Celsius. It's no wonder that our streets have so many cracks in them. There's a pretty new one on that corner. I'm not a big fan of that one. Still working our way up to Hill. This will be Montague up here, so maybe I'll take the alley just to be different. My mic is very close. Well, yes, it is. It's kind of the idea. It's on my collar, which, well, on the buttons actually. The V of the collar. That's where it goes. Makes for a more intimate sound, I know, than the just the microphone on the camera does. But it also means more consistent and less wind noise, and allows me to talk more softly, which, since I'm effectively walking along talking to myself, I appreciate sometimes. Hollyhocks, a flower I very much associate with Saskatchewan in the summer, since we used to have them growing around not our house, but the campus at Western Christian College in Weyburn, North Weyburn, where we lived in an apartment in an old Air Force building. There were hollyhocks in many of the flower beds out there, as I remember. Okay, now we'll start going. We'll go up 2 blocks and then work our way street by street to the east here. This, of course, is the Hill Avenue shopping area. 7-Eleven, where I bought many a big gulp before a rehearsal, and St. Luke's Anglican, in whose fellowship hall we used to rehearse quite a bit as well. Over there in that building, rehearsed many a show in there with Thai Productions a long time ago, which is where I met Rob Burson, who eventually became a good friend and was best man at my wedding and has directed me in many a show since then. We used to rehearse there, and Lyric rehearsed a few shows there too. I remember Most Happy Fella for sure was rehearsed in there. Follow Emmanuel on YouTube. It's basically follow Jesus on YouTube. Does he have a Twitter account? He probably does. God has one. I don't think he tweets himself, though. And I also would think anybody who decided to set up a spoof God Twitter feed is not someone who really believes. Because if you really believed, you would be very cautious about speaking for God. So, what time is it? How long have I been out? 18 minutes. I don't actually know how these streets will work because things do get a little altered down in here. We'll go up one more and start working our way back and forth to the west. Apartments. Westgate Avenue. I know somebody that lives on that side of Westgate. We are going this way, to the left, to the west. And then we'll go back to hill, and so forth and so on. Interesting color on that side, and there's some murals on there as well. All right, now we will go left, where we seem to have found more construction. Garnet Street, which I used to live on, down on the other side of the river. I was going to walk down the other side, but that's where all the construction is, so I'll stay over here. Old St. Pius X. Actually, it'd be Pius, I'm sure. It's Latin. And the École tells you that it's a French immersion school. I think the sidewalk's clear on this side. For the most part, or not. So there's dirt in front of me. Well, let's go through the parking lot then. There's water on that side too, so that's no good. So there's the schoolyard, and then the church. Being a Catholic school, there's always a church close by. Or almost always. It's not hard and fast rule. I think we can avoid the dirt if I go over here now. Decisions. We'll take this sidewalk. And there's the church. More of it than it looks like from that side, because there's a whole hall over here also attached to it. Sidewalk closed on that side, so I made the right choice. Now as we return to hill, so I have to get around this. I know they have to put up the sign, but it's pretty obvious the sidewalk is closed when there's a hole in it. Good morning, Kirk in Vancouver. Got my lapel mic today, again. So my voice should be closer, more intimate. All right, here's Cameron. If I went to the left, that would take me to the footbridge, but it's not quite that far in my walk yet, so we'll go up north or south again for a couple of blocks in that direction. Keep working our way towards Albert Street, which is not that far away. All right, this one just goes into an alley, so I will, because that's the schoolyard we just walked by, so I'll carry on to Robinson. Walking along Hill Avenue, enjoying people's greenery and occasional flowers. There's a nice one on this corner. I like the turret. Needs battlements though, and maybe some boiling oil. One for sale. You got a nice front yard over there with a bit of a front garden and some seating and everything. That's kind of nice. Oh, it's a new one under construction. There comes a dog. Ow! A dog. They're everywhere. One on both sides. Hi, Roger. I have my lapel mic back again, as you can tell, I would hope. Especially when I clear my throat. Downside of it, I suppose. If I cough or clear my throat or burp or whatever, it's right there on the mic. And we're back in Lakeview again, exploring south of Hill Avenue, street by street, until I run out of time. Which, considering how far it's taking me south this time, might be sooner than I thought. That's Whitmore Avenue we're crossing here on Robinson. Lovely treed bit of street. Oh, there's a little bit of a park here that I didn't really know existed, with a playground in it. That's nice. Is there a path that goes through the park? No, not really. It just goes to the playground and then stops in the grass, I think. Yeah, so no point in walking over there. I think it would just take me into an alley anyway. And here is an alley. Maybe I'll take the alley if it looks attractive. Well, looks like an alley. We'll stick to the road. Because now we are all the way up to Assiniboine. So I came much further south on this leg. Yes, it's right there. Oh, there's a cat. Nothing really to say. Walking on Assiniboine. This is where the aforementioned, well, I didn't mention her name, but Thai Productions, which stood for Tom and Yvonne Ellis. I remember Yvonne and Tom lived on Assiniboine, but I don't remember the number. I do remember they had a green fluorescent number sign on their house. Okay, back north on Ray. We'll see what the time looks like when we get back to Hill this time. Might be about time to head on home. Although if this is Ray, we're actually quite close to Albert. It should be Ritalik, but I don't know if Ritalik comes down here or not. Yeah, this is Ray, so kind of skipped right over Ritalik down here. Only 35 minutes. We can probably do my original thought, which would take us all the way to Albert for the walk home. Hill's the next block. Not this block. And Albert is just right down there. Not much to say along here. Houses. Nothing that makes me go ooh and ah. There's one for sale over there. So I think we can go one over to south and then come back up Albert to head home. And maybe go back, well, see whether I want to take the bridge or what. Probably I will, because it's shorter if I stay on Albert Street. Tend to get the bigger houses right here on Hill, and McCallum especially. Another one for sale. So 2 blocks here will take us down to Assiniboine. Then I'll go over to Albert. And since I don't very often walk along Albert, I will just walk along Albert. Well, I did yesterday. That was down on South Albert. Nice little flower bed in the front corner here for that house. Hear a dove somewhere. You may or may not be able to on the little mic. It's a newer one. Not really new. I suppose it might be a refurbished old one. Hard to tell with that style. In some ways I like the sound on the camera mic better, but it's very inconsistent and much more susceptible to wind noise. And I paid for this thing, so I'm darn well going to use it. One more block south. Oh, this takes us past this one over here. I'll go to the other side so you can see it better. A somewhat grand brick house. Has a certain southern plantation look to it. And no front yard to look after. I presume they have a nice backyard, but I don't know. And I assume it's a house and not a divided into apartments. It's brand new, so I assume it's a house. One family house. Well, brand new. Reasonably new. I don't know when it was built. I discovered it doing these walks, so to me it's brand new. Another sign of summer. Boat on the street. And a camper up here. As someone commented on when I did the nighttime walk, how much camping equipment there seemed to be on the streets. All right, over to Albert Street and then straight south to home. Well, straight south to where I can tell I'm on the other side of the river, then to home. An old truck. Could use a lick of paint. And of course, there's the park over there, specifically the Mackenzie Art Gallery, right in front of us through the trees. Now we will just walk on Albert, because I don't very often just walk on Albert along here, so that's what we will do today. Down this tunnel o' trees. It's the Mackenzie over there. Well, the T.C. Douglas building, government offices, but the Mackenzie Art Gallery is in there. This one would have been ultra modern when it was built for this area. Morning. Another one that was quite modern when it was built. Don't particularly care for the garage, but they didn't ask me. That's good. It's good that I'm loud and clear, Kirk. I would be unhappy if I had just gotten my mic replaced and I still wasn't loud and clear. Always some interesting houses along South Albert here. Many of which are in my book, Historic Walks of Regina and Moose Jaw. The contents of which I don't actually remember very well. Which is why I'll often say, oh, that's an interesting house. But I can't remember what I actually know about it. This one, for instance. It's on the tip of my tongue. I want to say it belonged to the architect. Was it Van Egmond? But I wouldn't swear to that without looking it up in my book. Nice house, though. Another government office building over there. I like the red and white flowers that they've put in their front and in their planters. Nice brick house. Again, brick houses for some reason are a little more rare than others. This one has a secretive wall in it, which probably was built to cut down on traffic noise as much as anything. Can't see much of the house behind it. This one has a hedge to keep down on traffic noise, but it has the timbered look, which I quite like. And then this one has a completely different look. And again, I'm sure it's in my book, Historic Walks of Regina and Moose Jaw, but darned if I know. You write 60 or 70 books and see how much you remember out of everything. Good, I think I'll catch the crosswalk light here, which is helpful. I think this is the one that we're threatening to do something to, and it has heritage designation, but I think that's the one. So it certainly doesn't look like it's being cared for at the moment. Then there's littler ones, like the little green one tucked in there. They're not all the big mansions. That one has a possibly subdivided look to it. But with the parking lot in front, that's usually makes me think it's been turned into apartments. Fell off the sidewalk. Didn't quite hurt myself. Oh, this one's for sale. Nice house. Sidewalk's very uneven there. And you caught that on the microphone for sure. This one I think is actually pretty new. The government office building over there. This is an interesting one with the shutters and the awnings. Good-sized one. Also, I think in my book, bunch of greenery out in front of this one. Red door, always a striking choice. Back in there. Smaller one next to it, has a red roof. Stands out in the blue. Another one with timbers on it. This was kind of the prime address when Regina was first getting going. One has a very interesting design, roof line. Big trees here too. These spruce have been there a long time. And this is a brick house tucked away in there. I think I've been in that one. Yes, I'm sure I have. Big one back in there. Nice big yard and walkway around the tree. And the hedge again, mostly to keep down traffic noise, I think. So you can sort of see it back in there. Tall one. Another one hidden behind the trees there. Nice one there, but then this is probably the grandest of them all along here. Of course, the legislative building is just across the street from here. Kind of behind the trees, but it's right over there. A couple of brick ones here, side by side. Maybe this was the brick one I was in on this corner, not the other corner. Can't remember now. Nice brick one. Another nice brick one. As we go across 20th, one more block to the bridge. I'll check my time and decide which way I want to take from there. Shouldn't stop on the street to do that. 53, I think I'll carry on straight across Albert Street Bridge. So, of course, there's the legislative building over there. The ledge. See, if I go down beside the bridge, I would take the path back to Cameron Street, but that adds time, and I do have a bit of a deadline this morning I need to get to, so this will still be about an hour by the time I get home. Also, my foot hurts just a little from when I fell off the sidewalk back there, so nothing major, or I wouldn't still be walking. But not my ankle, it feels like I strained a toe somehow. Not quite sure how I did that. Okay, so we'll go across the bridge, but you have to go down beside it first before you can get up on it. I think that's because of people turning right. Of course, the lake's over there, which I will walk around tomorrow, as I always do, almost always on Friday. One of these days I will miss a day, I'm quite sure, but it hasn't happened yet. And I'm at 140 something consecutive live streamed walks, which ain't bad. Go back and watch them all. Why? It would take you 3 solid weeks of 40-hour days, 40-hour weeks. Watch it straight through, it'd take you less than 10 days, 24 hours a day. You could do it in about, what, 8 days? Less than that. You could do it in a week. A little more than a week. No, maybe even less than a week. 24 times 7, 140 and 20, 160. Oh yeah, less than a week. Always like to point out the buffalo heads and the nice colored terracotta balustrade here. I guess you'd call it a balustrade, not a bridge. And the lampposts. All very pretty, and not that long ago they refurbished everything, but you can see our good old Saskatchewan climate is already making its mark. It's about time to repaint and maybe repair in spots. You don't paint the terracotta, but the railing was painted. They're still working down there on the murals to dress that up and cut down on vandalism. Hopefully, cut down on vandalism. And now this will be a very familiar stretch because I come this way a million times. I will manfully refrain from mentioning that one of the characters from the Shards of Excalibur, Wally Knight, lives down that street on Harrington Mews in a fictional house, but a very real location. I won't mention that this time. But if you'd like to know more, you could read The Shards of Excalibur. Available in ebook, very cheaply. Now available in print up to the 4th one on Amazon. New Shadowpaw Press editions. Also available as audiobooks, narrated by Elizabeth Klett. Very excellent narrator. Very, very good job she did on the books. What's that? Oh, thanks, Colleen. I forgot you were reading them. Well, that's where Wally lives, back there in Harrington Mews. Colleen says she's just finished Lake in the Clouds. Penny University has them. The bookstore on 13th has the original Cato Books editions. You can check them out there, or buy them there. It's not a library. You can also buy them directly from me, of course. That works. Or on Amazon, up through, as I said, Cave Beneath the Sea just went live as a print book, and I'll have Dorn to Fairy done soon. Oh, hello. Greetings from Thailand. That's cool. Thanks for walking with me. Love your work, you say. It's not really work. Unless you're talking about my books. The walking is not my work. If you love my books, that's even better. Working on my next one from Daw Books, The Tangled Stars. Should have it submitted in the next 2 or 3 weeks. And then comes the editorial revisions and page proofing and all of that. It's supposed to come out next year, but I don't have a release date. My next book will be Shapers of Worlds Volume 2, the anthology featuring authors from my podcast, The World Shapers, theworldshapers.com, where I talk to science fiction and fantasy authors about the creative process. And kickstarted one last year featuring first-year guests, and kickstarted one this year featuring second-year guests. So people like Kelly Armstrong and S.M. Sterling, Barbara Hambley, Garth Nix. It's a very impressive list of authors. It's going to be a great anthology, and pretty long too. I think it's going to be well over 100,000 words of fiction. That will be out this fall. Got to get the Tangled Stars done, then I can really finish up the editing of that one and get it moving towards production. ITC. Alrighty. Well, that brings us to the end of the hour and the end of the walk. So thanks for walking with me if you're with me live, and thanks for watching if you watched the recording. And the high def version of this goes up later in the day, and then I take down the live recording because it's only at 7:20, I believe. Anyway, thanks for walking with me, and I'll be back tomorrow for my walk around the lake. Bye for now.